All right, so we can go ahead and get started. Again, thank you all for coming to the Western Entrepreneurship Speaker Series. We're back with session number 3 of our e-commerce series with Shopify. I'm Alicia McLeod, Program Coordinator with Western Entrepreneurship, and we're so excited to be bringing you these sessions, all a part of Shopify's e-commerce series. Today, we are here with Amy McKay. Amy is a sales executive at Shopify, and she'll be leading both sessions number 1 and 2 of Beyond Your Online Store this week. If you missed last week's sessions with Emily, be sure to check those out on our Ivy webpage and to watch and catch up. As always, we want to help you out with your time here. So if you attend all 4 of these live Shopify sessions, you could be eligible for a LinkedIn skill badge and or co-curricular record. We have some amazing content today that we'd love for you guys to engage in, so be sure to do that. We just ask that you keep your questions for Amy to the end, where we will open it up to the audience for some Q&A. But let's go ahead and get started. Amy, I'll hand things over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So just want to do a little bit of an introduction on myself. I'm Amy from Shopify, as mentioned. Typically, I am merchant facing. So I speak with merchants all day long who either have Shopify online or who have physical brick and mortar retail stores and are looking to make the transition from Shopify or from other platforms to an entire Shopify system. That means switching to point of sale or selling online. In my past, I've also been an entrepreneur. I've started my own business, ran Shopify stores. Then I also worked for a company where I helped build Shopify stores for other vendors and merchants. So I definitely feel confident in this. I also have a ton of experience in retail, running brick and mortar stores for up to a decade. So definitely confident there. If you guys have any questions about any of that, even if it's I can help with my personal experience, please feel free to reach out. I love questions. So if you have any questions about my specific experience or the merchants that I speak with day to day, hopefully I'll be peppering some stories as we go. But if you guys have any specific questions, please ask at the end. Okay, so down for our agenda today, we're talking about what you should sell if you were to start a store on Shopify. Logistics and shipping strategy, which often slips under the radar. So I'm going to talk about why that's important. And then the hardest part about running a business, which is content creation. That is visually and writing content. Definitely the hardest. So we'll start to scratch the surface there. What should I sell? This is a big question. Some of you are coming to this webinar series because you already have a great idea and you just need some guidance of how you should sell on Shopify. So we talk a lot about this persona of seller versus maker. Maybe you have existing product that you want to sell directly to your customer. Maybe you want to make product and sell it to your customer. The other type of business you might want to start is maybe you have a podcast and you want to start promoting your swag, selling mugs with your face on them to your friends. These are all different ways that you can start a business using Shopify. My third example is you want to host an online service like tarot card reading for your friends, and you want to drop ship selling crystals and sage. Remember, whatever you decide to sell, help the paying customers that are on your website drive your business. You do not have to have a brand new idea. You can also reinvent an existing idea and make it more accessible to your shoppers. My recommendations are these 4 different types of businesses that you can have on Shopify. Your first is the direct to consumer. So think about an athletic clothing business or Kylie Cosmetics or any jewelry company. The next is multi-channel retailing, multi-retailer selling. Think of multiple brands under one roof, like Staples or The Bay. Third is services. Think salon appointments or lawn care are options. The newest and most popular that I've seen people pivot to during the pandemic is digital products. So think about, you run a fitness Instagram. Maybe you want to have workouts that are downloadable on a Shopify website and have a payment gateway so that you can start to charge your new customers. These are all different ways that you can sell on Shopify. So don't always think direct to consumer. You have to have a product in your home. Kind of think outside the box when it comes to what you could sell. Some examples of merchants that I've worked with on the platform are my biggest merchant to date is the Tom Brady's brand, which is TB12. They run a business on Shopify, online and on point of sale. They also have this cool business model as well, which is a subscription-based model. So merchants or customers come on their website and create a subscription for their supplements and get those delivered every month. So that is a reoccurring revenue model that, might be something that you can add. I know a lot of coffee shops are doing this, having their coffee delivered to their door. Bandier is an example of a Shopify merchant I've worked with that is multi-brand. So they are multi-brand retailer, but they've also hosted, they have popular brands like Nike and Alo Yoga, and they've hosted pop-up shops to get to their consumer around New York City in gyms, and then also the Bay in Canada to help get new customers. Another favorite merchant of mine is Gymshark. So they are a traditional direct-to-consumer brand. They manufacture, design, and house all their products in-house. And that's a great example of a direct-to-consumer brand. They're one of our biggest merchants on Shopify. I encourage you to check them out because they grew their business on the platform. Those are some good examples. Now I'm going to go on to logistics and shipping. For me, this is a super underrated thing that people overlook when they start with using our platform. It can end up costing you a lot over time, and I want to make sure that you guys don't make the same mistake that I did when I first started on Shopify. I first started with a brand on Shopify, and I didn't directly integrate my third-party shipping fees into my Shopify site. So when I got to the post office and was shipping out the products that I had sold online, it's actually paying double the money to actually get it to the customer, which was super disappointing for me because I had just made a bunch of new sales on Shopify. That's actually making no money. So super important to look at your margins and how your shipping rates are integrated into Shopify. I'm going to go over 3 different ways of housing your products and how you can get them to your customers. Drop shipping, you probably hear this a lot recently. I even have someone on my team who started a drop shipping store this weekend. She was just like, you know what, I didn't have anything to do and I talked to merchants all day long. So I'm going to start a drop shipping website. So hers is a seasonal website targeted at consumers. Like right now she's doing a Valentine's Day one. And then I assume she'll switch it up based on what does the best. It's a retail fulfillment method where a store does not keep the products in stock. Instead, when a store sells a product using the drop shipping model, it purchases the item from a third party and it ships directly to the customer. As a result, the seller doesn't have to handle the product directly. The biggest difference between drop shipping and the standard retail model is that the selling merchant doesn't own the stock or inventory. Instead, the seller purchases from the inventory as needed from the third party, usually a wholesaler or manufacturer. This is really popular for furniture. So a lot of the biggest furniture companies on Shopify have a drop shipping component. It's a great way as an aspiring entrepreneur to use drop shipping because it's a way to offset the costs. And maybe you live in a small apartment like I do, you can still ship furniture to a customer using one of these third parties. I also really like it because it helps you learn a lot about your customers and the people that you can attract. So let's say you start off with a furniture website, but people are really into your lighting. Let's say you start selling some lighting, you can pivot your business to maybe a custom lighting brand. So this is a really great way to start to do some market research within how you want to buy for your brand. Warehousing is another popular way for direct-to-consumer brands. So this is customers without a physical retail space. They have maybe third parties or they have warehouses. And as an online order comes in, they fulfill directly from the warehouse. They typically have full control of their product journey. So they can have really nice branded packaging and really great customer service. Typically, this is how I like to shop because I know that the money is going directly to the retailer. The third piece is direct fulfillment from retail. This is what I work with on a day-to-day basis. So the majority of my time is spent speaking with retailers and making sure that their inventory is all in-house. So this is the one I deal with the most. This is how the workflow works. Someone purchases from your online web store, and the merchant has multiple different locations. So this could mean they have a warehouse, they have 2 retail stores, and maybe a pop-up. When someone makes the purchase from the e-com web store, it's either getting fulfilled from their warehouse or their multiple retail locations. The tricky piece here is that the retail stores could be open. So someone could be going in and purchasing that item at the same time that is being purchased online. The only way to get around this is if you have Shopify to manage your inventory. So if it's sold online, your retail store gets notified to pick, pack, and ship that order for that customer that made the purchase online. It's the most complex, but it is the most cost-effective way to run a business if you're thinking about retail as well. Other things to think about when it comes to logistics and shipping is packaging. There are a lot of resources within Shopify. I'm going to send you a few at the end of our conversation today. But where do you source packaging? Is it eco-friendly? Does the branding and the logos, do they match up with your brand that you're putting out there online? A personal favorite of mine, it's cheesy, but I love getting the packages and it has like a custom note to me for helping support their business. I think these are just small ways that you can really help drive loyalty to your customers. And I think that's really important. Next up, I want to talk about shipping strategies. This is something that people don't usually think about, but as Canadians, I'm sure you're familiar with this age-old tale. I'm on Instagram scrolling, I find a super cute brand and I go to their website, okay? I add that product to the cart and go to add in my address and I'm bombarded with a $30 shipping fee. Not only is it a $30 shipping fee, maybe on top of that, when it gets to my door, I also get duties and other fees on top of that. Really not a great experience and not a great way to attract all customers. This is why you need a shipping strategy. This is a chart here that shows you the reason of abandonment during checkout. Of course, there's those cute little emails that come in like you forgot this in your cart, but this is purely for a reason. This chart here that I'm showing you is purely for the reason that you went on someone's site, went to make a purchase, and left because they didn't have a shipping strategy in place. So this is why you need one in place. I thought of, there's 3 different strategies that you can use that I'm going to talk about in the next slide. And this is a way to make sure that your customers aren't at least abandoning their cart for this reason. So offer free shipping. Some merchants offer free shipping on all orders, while others choose conditions. For example, free shipping on all orders over 100, This is also a great way to get your average transaction value up, which is something, if you have any questions about that, I can also answer in the chat. Charging exact costs. Someone who is kind of on a discount store, or is, kind of lives far out in maybe a rural area, this is a great solution for them because typically it includes real-time shipping courier rates that are down to the penny. The other option is provide flat free shipping. So you can apply flat free shipping to, for example, $10 sent anywhere within Canada. This is my favorite because sometimes you don't want to go over the $100 shipping, depending on what you're selling in your physical retail store. And I think it's the easiest way to cover your costs as a new entrepreneur. The other important thing I want to mention here, and I get this question a lot, is how do I print postage? How do I make sure that my customer is, I'm getting the right customer data into that order? So you can integrate with third-party partners. You can sign up with Canada Post and Shopify to get third-party rates. It creates a packing slip and a label for you. So depending on the Shopify plan, you get discounts with Canada Post, UPS, or in the States, multiple different couriers. And it will calculate the best rate for you, whether you want to charge directly to your customer or do you want to foot the bill yourself. I'm sure you guys will have questions on that, so make sure to pop in the chat if you have any questions about shipping. I'll hopefully be able to answer them for you. And if not, I can definitely find the solutions. Now, my favorite topic, which is content creation. I'm going to be honest, content creation is probably the most time consuming, the toughest portion of running your business. Later this week, I'm going to cover marketing. But first, you need the content to market. So you need product images, you need blog posts, you need product descriptions. And you can't just have any old product description. You can't just have like blue t-shirt. It has to be really engaging. It has to be in the language of your customer. Then it also has to be SEO, search word adoptable. So without getting too far ahead of myself, I'm going to talk about Burst. Not too sure how many of you are familiar with Burst, but it is a free content tool. So it offers free stock photo images that's powered by Shopify. And we have photographers that are consistently uploading high-resolution images to help our users find the perfect free image to help build their website. I always recommend merchants use this, and new entrepreneurs like yourself use this as placeholders. So like Emily went over last week, you've set up your web store, you have started to build a theme and a template and customize your website. But dropping in those images, it takes a while to create that content, whether you're hiring a photographer, maybe you decide you want to get models in, or you just want to continue with the stock images. But always reminder to use those free images, at least as placeholders, until you've had time to create your own content. There's also some great resources on our Shopify blog site on how to even take product images with your iPhone and create a black back or a white background. So I can send that along too if you guys are interested. Next up is blogging. Blogging, to me seems like very 2010, but we're thinking about it in a different way. We're thinking about it as building a community and a dedicated audience on Shopify. So, listen, there's no shortage of content on the internet. It's hard to stand out, but there's two ways you can compete. And the two ways are by creating a niche to focus on. And the second way is creating content that readers can't easily find elsewhere. It's really important that you find a niche that is an inch wide, but a mile deep. It'll ensure that you can consistently create content without running out of ideas, and it'll help influence your business ideas. So here's a couple ways that that's recommended to do this. One is focus on specific area. So for example, my favorite one, even though it was very clickbait heavy, Blog TO. It always had, specific to one area, and it was easy to navigate. The second is maybe focus on a specific segment instead of a larger category. For example, maybe it's just not a recipe blog. Maybe it's for specifically vegans. And maybe later on, once your blog is established, you specifically go into selling kitchenware goods. These are just examples of how a blog could kick off into a business. Third is deliver your content in a different style. For example, no need to be so serious on your delivering of your content. If you're funny, go in with humor. That it's a great way to establish a community with your customer. Quality. People love quality content. For me, I'm not a writer, so I would definitely have to hire someone or do more video blogging. But this is definitely something that no one else and not a lot of people are willing to do, is create the quality of content. This is all to help you gain a loyal following and to help your followers to keep coming back and to organically up your SEO traffic. If you guys have any questions on blogging, there's also a lot of content on that, so I can continue to send you that information as well. The last topic I want to talk about is social and selling channels. Quick story for you. I had a customer that I spoke with a few weeks ago, and she contacted me because she went viral on TikTok. She actually went viral for, I don't know if you guys know what these are. I didn't when I first started talking with her, but they're called hot cocoa bombs, and they're essentially just a chocolate with hot chocolate powder on the inside, and you put them in hot water and it just makes hot chocolate. But anyway, she had contacted me freaking out because she had gone viral on TikTok, but her inventory was not tied into her Shopify store. So she was selling out in store, but then all of her TikTok customers were coming into the TikTok channel, and she was overselling and having to refund customers. This is just one of the ways that it's important to really understand the social and selling channels on Shopify, because you can potentially sell out on one channel and not have your inventory integrated. So these are some of the channels that we have on Shopify. Not limited. I know some people like to use the ones that aren't listed here that I can talk about if you guys have questions on, something like Farfetch or other marketplaces, but these are the main ones. My favorites are Instagram and Facebook because they drive the most traffic. Another one that's really been really popular is Comment Sold. So this is running a Facebook Live and then having your customers click on a product and following you into Facebook and then into your Shopify store to make that sale. Google Shopping, I use that a lot. Your online store, we've talked about. Pinterest is a really underrated one because I feel like every time I click on something on Pinterest, it leads to nothing or a dead link. This is a really great way to help grow your business, especially if you're really keen on getting those proper images down. Shop is a Shopify shopping app. If you don't already have it, I highly recommend using it to track all your packages. Anyways, I'll talk about it more. I get really excited about it. So I'll talk about it more if you guys have questions, but it's a really great channel to help drive your sales. Chat would just be a chat at the bottom of your website, helping customers through sizing, any questions that they may have. TikTok is our most recent acquisition. And then eBay is a classic one, but I feel like not many people are using that as much unless you're a vintage reseller. Whatever your business is, you definitely want to start using one of these channels. Oh, I forgot the main one, which is point of sale. And I forgot that because this is what I do day to day. We're going to be talking next week about doing pop-ups or farmers markets as a way to drive customer acquisition to your e-commerce website. So I'll put a pin in that one for now because I have a lot of things to cover on it later this week. But whatever you choose and whatever channel you decide to sell on, the takeaway here I want you to understand is that if you don't have all of your inventory in one system, then you're going to be consistently overselling on one of these channels. So that's the main driver, the main point I want to drive home today. And if you have any additional questions on any of these channels, I'm happy to answer them. I think that's all I have today. I went through that really quickly. I'm sorry. I thought I would be a lot longer. But I'd love to answer any of your guys' questions that you have. Again, no question is too complex for me. I talk to merchants all day long. You can imagine the type of people that I speak with.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Amy. We do have a couple of questions in there. I just want to reach out to everyone and say apologies. There was some issues with the link, I guess. So I was resending that out. So if you joined a bit later into the session, we're sorry, but good news is we have loads of time to chat and catch up. So as Amy mentioned, she loves questions. So if you have any questions around the content, feel free to drop it in the Q&A. And if something comes up along the way, more than welcome to drop it in as well. So Amy, if you're ready, I'll just dive in here. So we have a couple questions around shipping. So the first one here, it says, what about shipping to US and internationally?
Yeah, there's two ways to do this. So let's say you're in Canada and you want to ship internationally, you can have additional shipping rates. So if the customer's coming to your website from an international location, it'll automatically identify that that customer's coming from elsewhere and charge them a rate that you decide if you want to give them that additional option. You can also just say, like, for example, I'm obsessed with this bra company and they don't even let Canadians shop on their website. So you can also like not have them shop if you'd like that as well. The other, way to do it as you start to expand your business, I typically see this in merchants of a larger scale, is they open up a warehouse in the US. Or they have a corner of a warehouse if you're just starting. And you can actually ship directly to your US customers through that website and through that warehouse. It saves you costs in the end.
Awesome, thank you. Another question here around shipping. Someone wrote, how do I qualify for reduced shipping fees with Canada Post? Would I qualify just because I'm a Shopify merchant?
Yeah, there's two ways you can qualify for reduced fees. Any plan on Shopify from $29 and up, you qualify for reduced rates on Canada Post. The other trick is to go directly to Canada Post and apply for a small business card, and you do get reduced rates. And once you reach a certain volume, they will offer things like they will come to your house and pick up the 10 orders instead of you bringing them to the Canada Post office. So little things like that, you can contact Canada Post directly for.
Perfect. We have a question here from Rima. It says, if you are a product-based business that makes the product in Canada and only send within US and Canada, won't customers in the US not be charged custom fees because of NAFTA?
Yeah, I'll send you a whole fun doc on what that looks like. But you can charge it directly to the customer. So they will get charged the fee instead. So you can offset the fee to them. Or you can pay it yourself, or you can offer, like, for example, I know some websites that I shop through, they'll allow me to pay for them up front so I don't get charged at the door. So there's about 3 different ways you can go about this, and I can send you the information afterwards if you'd like to contact me directly.
Great, thank you. We have a question here from Nick. It says, would you recommend having a separate blog or include on website or both?
I recommend having everything on the same. Because this can help with your click-through rate. You want, even on top of that, make the blog shoppable. So maybe you want to have a Shopify website, have a blog page within the website, and then maybe at the bottom of the blog, you've mentioned 3 products and it links back to your web store. The idea is you never want people to leave your website. So the same thing happens when people have like complicated landing pages. It's always just like make it image heavy, make the products front and center, so that they can't help but add it to the cart and purchase what you're selling.
Awesome. Another question, follow up. I'm not sure what list we're talking about here, but it says Instagram is not on the list, but presume it is available.
That's something I actually learned this morning when I was adding the social channels, because Instagram was missing for me as well. So what's happening is when you go on Instagram and you see that little shopping, the little shopping bag, and you can click through to your Shopify website. It's actually just they're unifying Facebook shopping and Instagram shopping all into one. So you'll now be able to manage it all within one instead of managing your Instagram channel, your Facebook channel. You still have the ability to share on both. But we're just updating it so it looks a little bit neater. And so that's why Instagram didn't show up. But yes, it is available. It's how I shop.
Awesome. Thank you. Good to know. Perfect. We have one here from Kiana. It says, do you have any recommendations of where to get shipping boxes, filler for boxes, etc., and any more shipping tips?
Yes, I do. We actually have a partnership with a company within Canada and the US to create, it's actually, there's 2 different ways, but to create packaging with your logo and images on it. So I'll definitely follow up with that, because when I was starting a small business, I think we ordered like 500 mailers from Uline, and they were so hideous and so thick plastic. They probably will be around for 100 years. So I'm really embarrassed that I didn't go the eco-friendly way, and but this was a while ago, so that wasn't top of mind. But definitely, I can send across that link.
Awesome. We have a couple questions here around the recording. So yes, as always, these are recorded. We'll go ahead and send that to you in the same email through Eventbrite. And we will also later post them on our Ivy webpage. So we will definitely get the recording link to you guys. No problems there. Caitlin. So Caitlin had an issue coming in. And so she joined at the second part around logistics and shipping. What was the first point? I'm interested in how to find a product to sell.
Ooh, okay. So another great partnership called Orbolo on Shopify. So we connect directly with this company that offers items that you can drop ship. So you can actually start a Shopify website, just like my colleague did this weekend, and log into Orbolo. Sorry, I never know how to say it. Orbolo. And you actually just do a direct integration with them, and they actually source products for you. So this is a great way. I've seen people do it, like maybe they have a direct-to-consumer t-shirt brand and they want to round it out by doing like, I don't know, like pens or other things. Sorry, I'm like drawing a blank of what else you could sell. Like any types of products that you want it to source. It's kind of like like the Amazon of the drop shipping world. And they will ship directly to your customer. Only thing I don't like about this, if you're starting like a really strong brand, It will ship in whatever packaging they have. It won't be as personalized, but it does help people round out their assortments, especially if they're starting with 1 or 2 products.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another question from Nick. No worries, Nick. No, there are never too many questions. He said, can someone look at my Insta, then go direct to the product and buy it?
Yeah. My biggest pet peeve is when people use these like link tree apps. So they make you go to the link in bio and then go to it opens up a browser and then it goes into to a website. That's already 4 clicks on a mobile phone. 70% of your customers are actually found on a mobile phone, whether it's through any of these different channels we spoke about, and then clicking to your website. With that being said, you need to have that link within your Shopify, that little box enabled, that little white shopping bag to tell you the price. When you click on it, it automatically adds to your cart, and the next button is your checkout button. So you can either continue shopping on the website or just go directly to checkout.
Perfect. A question here says, how do most merchants deal with returns and refunds in terms of fees associated with?
Yep. Me personally, I love a good when there's that the return shipping when I order a big order and I've tried on the products and I have that return shipping label. I often find it can be, suggestive that you can return the products at any time. So as a new entrepreneur, I wouldn't recommend putting in a return shipping label. Try to make it a little bit harder for the customer to get their money back. Just in my experience, they can go through, you can use an app called Returnly on Shopify, and it'll actually auto-generate a return label to send to the customer that can either be paid by them or paid by you, depending on how you want it to work. You can always offset the cost to the customer in a pinch.
Great. Sorry, I was on mute there. We have someone here who missed the drop shipping section. Do you mind touching on that again?
Yeah, no problem.
There is a couple more questions around drop shipping. So maybe we'll do that first and then we'll come back to the rest of the questions.
Yeah, so drop shipping, and because there's so many video content on YouTube, I find if you search Shopify on YouTube right now, all of the things that come up are like these clickbait articles of like, I got rich on Shopify doing drop shipping websites. But I find it as a really good way. If you have a great idea and you want to reach your customers, or you even you're not sure about what kind of business you want to start, it's a great way to not house your own inventory. So in traditional retail, I go to a wholesaler and I buy 50 t-shirts, I buy 10 candles from another manufacturer, and I create a website and I house those products in my home to then pick, pack, and ship to the customer. With drop shipping, you have the product image, but when that order comes in, you notify your drop shipper to then pick, pack, and pick that and send that product directly to your customer that you acquired. So it's kind of taking the housing portion out. That's why it's no overhead costs. It's a great way to find who your customers really are. And it's a great way to do like like the example that I mentioned. Maybe you have a podcast and this is, but you're going off the recent, maybe you went viral on TikTok, like these things, maybe this isn't your business, but you want to monopolize on the viral aspect of maybe a video that you had. Maybe you want to try to see if your customers would also be interested in your podcast and purchasing from your e-commerce website. That's when I see most people start and be successful on drop shipping websites. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, that was a good run through. There are
Okay.
kind of a couple more questions. So maybe just slightly different. It says, please explain the phenomenon of drop shipping. So you just did. It says, how is it utilized in or with Shopify?
Yeah, so I'm going to send you the link to this app because there's a few how-to videos and how to install the app. And you can start as quick as, if you already have a site, so you can add products as quick as minutes to publish on your store.
Sweet.
So I'll
Okay,
definitely send that along.
perfect.
I didn't know it was going to be so popular. I should have added a slide. Maybe I can touch on it. If people are really interested in or below, I'll do a slide on it next week.
Perfect. That
Yeah.
sounds good. And then any of the resources that are being mentioned here, I'll get Amy to actually just flip them to me. And then I can just send out a mass email to everyone following up with the resources, and that'll be kind of a bit
Yeah.
easier. So this is again following up around drop shipping. I think specifically to something in the presentation. They had said, I'm pretty clear on drop shipping, but can you please go over the difference between the other two types of logistics methods? I feel like I missed some of what you were talking about.
Yeah. So the other piece is so there's drop shipping, but then there's, like I mentioned, the housing your own inventory. And that could be, housing your inventory like in your own apartment. That could be, there's a lot of small businesses and collectives that go in on one warehouse. So when you think warehouse, like that's not always like a, a massive Amazon sized warehouse. That could be a storage unit that three other small businesses rent out. That could be, the corner of a warehouse in your town. There's also different ways, like if they are a functioning fashion warehouse. I've had this scenario where different brands own different portions of the warehouse, but the same fulfillment company will pick and pack those products for you. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. Just start asking, start asking local people where they're housing their products. If you know anyone who's currently doing this, it's always a good place to start to ask, recommendations from local businesses.
Great. We have a question here from Amir. It says, at what point do you recommend acquiring an inventory space? At what level of sales?
I don't think there's a right answer for that because it all depends on what you're selling. For example, I could probably run a candle business or a bath bomb business, which is the first two types of businesses you can start on Shopify out of this, 700 square foot apartment today. And I could probably, do quite well. Then maybe I, start drop shipping some soaps, and then I maybe start, you know, housing some of my product in at a local shop. Like, there's so many different ways. There's no right answer. The right answer is I think people get really excited and get too far ahead of themselves. I would just recommend starting off small, growing the sales from your apartment. When your partner and your animals can no longer move in your apartment, then is the time to, think about a warehouse or think about your parents' garage.
Perfect.
Which I've been there as well. So
Amazing. We have a question here from Linda. It is a repeat question. So recommendations around where to source packaging. So Amy had said she was going to provide another resource around that. So stay tuned. We have a question here from Abdullah. It says, what's the benefit of connecting our Shopify store to Amazon? Is Amazon driving our foot traffic, or are we using it for shipping?
it's definitely not driving your foot traffic. Amazon's kind of like a one-way channel. So you have your product on your Shopify web store and you're sharing it. So picture a Shopify as your main hub, and then it's like a bike wheel. And then your spokes are all of your sales channels. Amazon is just one of those channels. Amazon, Instagram, point of sale, and it's all coming from this one inventory. So it's actually just casting out to Amazon in this sense. And if it sells on Amazon, it's pulling directly from your Shopify inventory. So it does no longer show to your other customers who may be visiting your website or may be visiting via Instagram.
Awesome. Great. We have a question here from Jessica that says, I recently shipped a product to the US and the tracked option had a longer delivery time than the untracked/uninsured one. Which one is the standard practice?
I would have to take a closer look at this, see which third party you're using. This might be a question for support because I would want to make sure that you had your proper everything in shipping like set up properly, because this can really burn you in the end. Overcharging on shipping, it's a killer. So I would recommend contacting support on that just to make sure everything's set up properly.
Awesome, good to know. Okay. We have one here. It says, does Shopify allow me to have to add 3 products to make a set before you can check out, not more or less, or is this an add-on? And what app would you recommend for that?
So you're talking about bundles. So there is an app to do this. For example, I don't know what your product is. That would help me, but buy 2, get 1 free, or buy 2, buy 3, and then you get like everything reduced by like $1. It's called the Bundles app. And you can use it, or you can do a multi-price discounting, which is native in our discounting function. It's just under discounts on the left-hand side on Shopify. If you need something more advanced, the Bundles app.
Awesome. Question here, it says, what is your suggestions for dealing with orders that are flagged as fraudulent by Shopify? Should we just not fulfill them? I had an issue with an order that turned out to be fraudulent and ended up losing out on that.
Yeah, we have a really great security platform when it comes to fulfilling and charging customers. I would trust the fraudulent. I would trust it. Even some of our biggest customers, like Kylie Cosmetics, she gets a lot of fraudulent orders, and they trust our payment solution. So I would trust it.
Great. Question here from anonymous attendee. Any tips on whether or how I should check out my competition? Some say not to, and some say that I should.
Yes, competition. You need competition to stand out from the rest. No one has new ideas. We only can make, existing ideas better, in my opinion. That's my opinion only. But I think seeing what your competition is doing, and also look at what other industries are doing. I think following industry trends can be really beneficial as well. And not getting too hung up on what your competitors are doing, but maybe how you can be even better than them and pulling in innovative ideas from different industries. I'm seeing people do the craziest thing these days. I saw a woman last week transition her physical brick and mortar store to an actual like window shopping experience. So she put in QR codes and was updating her window every morning of like this beautiful display, and having passerbyers come by, scan the barcode and shop, and come by and pick up that product later. Ship it, buy online, pick up in store from a window shopping experience. So I'm seeing people do all sorts of crazy things. So yes, pay attention to your competitors, look at them, but also, take ideas from other industries.
Awesome. Question here, it says, does Shopify help me generate and handle discount codes?
Yes. Everything is done on Shopify on the left-hand side. Under discounts, it allows you to do codes, stacked discount pricing, buy one, get one, friends and family, all that.
Awesome. Another question here, similar, it says about shipping bag supplier and recommend other than Uline. So again, to this person, Amy had a great resource that we will be mailing out. So again, stay tuned for that. We have a question that says, how do you set up free shipping for your customers?
Yep. So that's under your shipping. I don't have a store in front of me right now, but I know it's under shipping. and you can create so you can identify the free shipping by where they're visiting your site from. So let's say you don't want to be able to ship to the Yukon for $8 because that's going to cost you a lot of money. You can make sure that if someone from Yukon orders from you, you can charge it directly to them instead. Or if you want to, like, let's say you want to create free shipping within the GTA, you can do that. And it's all under the shipping module under settings.
Perfect. Question around or below. How is that spelled?
Oh God, I'm gonna send you the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Resources
how is it said and how is it spelled?
Yeah. Perfect. Resources to come. Okay. Can you do both drop ship, but also sell your own stock from your own warehouse / third party?
This is my favorite way to do it. Like, I can tell if you're just a drop shipper, has no customization, has no interesting personal touch. When you do some of your own personal products and round out your assortment with drop shipping, it's I think that's super smart.
Great.
Again, this is a lot of my opinion on what I've seen in my last experience working 3 years at Shopify and also owning a business. There's tons of other resources out there. You don't have to take my professional word for it. But yeah, in my opinion, it's a great way to go.
Awesome. Question from Rima. It is more related to last week's webinar, so not sure, Amy, if you have this answer. It says, can you have a price in US and have that deposited into a US account instead of having it converted to CAD and depositing it into a CAD account?
Yeah, so if you have a US address, US bank account, and a US registered business, do it in the US. If you have a Canadian company and you're running it, the same in Canada, do it that way because you're going to lose a lot on conversion. Yeah. So the answer is, I would keep it to USD. Awesome.
Okay. We're just, wrapping up here. We're going to give Amy a bit of a break. So kind of last question here. It says, what are your thoughts on utilizing giveaways and influencers for small businesses?
Well, isn't that a great question for the last one? Because we are covering that on Thursday. Fun fact, I also used to manage influencers. So I think it's a great way to, help drive your business, especially if you're within a smaller demographic and you want to use micro influencers to drive your business online. I think it's all about authenticity. And we can definitely talk about that on Thursday. I'm going to do a little bit on, outside of your online store and how to drive business and acquire customers, not online. So in-person business. And I consider this part of it.
Amazing. Well, folks, you heard it here first. What we're diving into next week. Be sure to join us on Thursday. Amy, thank you so much for today. Amazing session. For those who, again, attended a bit later, we do apologize for that, but of course it is recorded, so we will be sending this out to you. Again, be sure to register for Thursday's session, which is Beyond Your Online Store Part 2. And Emily's, the first 2 sessions from last week are currently posted, so you can catch up before you join us. But once again, thank you everyone for attending, and Amy, we'll see you on Thursday.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.